my actual eyesight. Is there the high drive? Deep center! Go! 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 We're out of here! We're out of here! Say ya, playa!
Just like they drew it up in Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! And this is it for good! The Audubon Green Wave are back in the Final Four! A gold pile on their side!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DW Broadcasting's coverage of men's varsity.
From our entire crew, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks.
Manchester Township, as for the first time in our football schedule history, we are covering a non-WJFL game. We are here from the Shore Conference down here in Manchester, as this stadium may not have an official name, but Coach Farrell and company call it the Hawk's Nest, as we have a gauntlet of a matchup tonight between the Rumson-Fair Bulldogs and the Manchester Township Hawks. Now, of course, both of these teams combined are 8-1. Rumson-Fair 4-0 with wins over Point Pleasant Borough, Marlborough, Long Branch, and Middletown South, and they have surrendered 10 points or less in 3 of their 4 games this year. The one that they didn't was opening night, 41-28, still a multi-score win over Point Pleasant Borough. And then you look over at Manchester Township, which, of course, we're South Jersey guys. I graduated from Audubon. My producer, David, graduated from Seneca. So Seneca's played Manchester Township a couple of times, but this Manchester Township team has its own South Jersey connection. They played West Deptford in the opening game of the Battle of the Beach. They won that game 26-21, but fell the next week in a 26-0 shutout against Southern. However, they have played 3 straight home games coming into tonight's matchup, and they have won all of them. 30-26 over Pinelands, 15-9 over Jackson Liberty, and 24-12 over Barnegat. So they have been on a roll, and so has Rumson-Fair. And this is going to be a game where the pass is going to be almost universal, as you've got Owen O'Toole of Rumson-Fair, who has passed for over 5,200 yards in his career, including passing the 500 mark just a few weeks ago in his senior campaign, and getting some high-level interest as well. You also have Aiden Lund for Manchester Township, who himself is at 3,200 career passing yards. And we don't see that a lot in South Jersey. If you know us from any of our WJFL games, we're used to seeing rushing offenses. We were just at Camden Eastside and Pennsauken, and they might have thrown the ball a combined 20 times. It's very normal to see a South Jersey quarterback that has 20 passes in a full season at this point. But Owen O'Toole and Aiden Lund are ready to go. And this is going to be a war here at Manchester Township. This is an exciting night for all of us. Manchester Township's getting ready to take the field, but I'll tell you this is an important day for us as a company. We're celebrating our 3-year anniversary. For those that aren't too familiar with our work, I am a graduate of Audubon High School and a current freshman at Rowan College in South Jersey in Gloucester County. So I'm not exactly from around these parts, but what I will say is our broadcasting career started on October 5th, 2021 with a 6-0 soccer game between Gloucester and Audubon. Audubon won that game. I remember my camera cut out in the first 5 minutes. I got it back 10 minutes later, and the rest of the game was smooth. And the camera I bought a couple months later in February of 2022 is the one you're looking through right now. So it's incredible, the progress that we've made. And, you know, one of the biggest things that I wanted to establish, you know, when I started out here as a broadcaster was being able to advance my career. That's why I have Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. But what I was able to do is advance other people's careers in that. David Cohen is a freshman at Rowan University. He's getting experience with the Rowan TV network. Vincent Vogt, our executive producer, he took a gap year after graduating from Haddon Heights, and now he is working at the Camden County College radio station 91.9. So these people are getting real world experience, and And, that's something that if I'm able to help out others while I'm helping myself out at the same time, that's something that I can be extremely proud of. And I am incredibly proud of the progress that we've made. The fact that we're in Manchester Township right now, an hour and 15 minutes away from where I live. I'm gonna be on the road for a long time tonight on Route 70, but we're glad to be here. It is a fun night here from Manchester Township, and we are here to have fun. It's a DWB doubleheader, and we are in part 2. We'll be right back as the colors are on the field, and so are both teams of Manchester Township and Rumson-Fair. We'll be right back with the first kickoff and more from the Shore Conference here in Manchester. All right, so not a better time to be here at Manchester Township. It is a fun night for all. It is a fun night for all of us here on the DWB crew. As I'm Dan Wilkins with my producer, David Cohen tonight. The captains are about to meet at the 50 for the coin toss and our subsequent kickoff. And these guys, like we said, 8-1 combined, and they do not have any prior history dating back to 2010 when we have records available. The one loss between these two teams was a 26-0 loss between Manchester and Southern back in mid-September, a 26-0 loss over at Southern Regional in Manahawkin. So both teams meeting over at the 50. There's the battle of the 12s, Owen O'Toole and Aiden Lund. We'll start off with Lund, talking about him, 6'3", 195. He had 1397 in terms of passing yards last year, 16 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. This year he's off to an even better start, 735 passing yards, 5 TDs, and 1 interception. 29 career touchdowns across 3 seasons, 3,124 passing yards, and 14 interceptions. He is 188 for 330, which puts him at a 57% pass completion rate. And for Rumson-Fairhaven, of course, Owen O'Toole is just a little bit better in all of those categories, but he has played a more rigorous schedule for Rumson-Fairhaven in the A North Division of the Shore Conference. In back-to-back seasons, he passed for over 2,000 yards, and also got a handful of rushing yards in there as well. 2161 in 2022 as a sophomore. As a sophomore, 25 touchdowns. Threw 18 TDs as a junior with 2,045 passing yards, and now has 931 with 11 touchdowns and just 1 pick halfway through this 2024 season. I mean, this is going to be, I think, an incredible gauntlet of the quarterback position tonight. And, you know, regardless of the fact that Manchester's in the C South Division and Rumson-Fairhaven is in the A North, you know, look, we are kind of strangers to this Shore Conference idea because we're used to the WJFL. And we're used to, in other sports, the Colonial Conference, the Tri-County Conference, the Cape Atlantic League,
the Cape Atlantic League, that's the really southern part of the Jersey Shore. Southern is a little bit further up from that. So, look, we are in unfamiliar territory tonight, but we are happy to be here as we celebrate 3 years of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Rumson-Fair, and Manchester Township getting ready to go with the Lion King theme in the background. That's certainly how it feels tonight. Not a lot of gray seats available here in Manchester at the Hawks' Nest. It is a beautiful Saturday night for football, 75 degrees with not a cloud in sight and barely any wind. And it looks like Rumson-Fair will kick this one off to start the festivities here on this Saturday night. All right, Rumson-Fair ready to go on the right side of your screen with the white jerseys and purple accents. Manchester Township on the left side. And we are ready for 48 minutes of Shore Conference football. Getting ready to kick this one off for Rumson-Fair is number 1, Carson Memmott, the senior. And a couple of folks back to return for Manchester. We are underway, under the lights. A return by Manchester will get to the 25 and maybe a little bit short of that. And we are underway from the Hawks' Nest. Manchester Township led by Tommy Farrell. And, one of the things that Manchester and Tommy Farrell talked to us about before the game was changing the culture in Manchester. When he came along in 2021, they went 3-6 in the prior season. They went 5-3 in 2020. And in 2019, they weren't much better. They were at 2-8. But when he comes along in 2022 as a head coach, they had 2 playoff berths in 2004 and 2010, and that was it. No playoff wins, no conference titles, and that is an offsides on the Bulldogs to move everybody up 5 yards. And that'll be 1st and 5 for the Hawks. But it's a rebuilding process. Manchester Township, under his first season, goes 3-7. They start off 2-0 with wins over Lakewood and Toms River East, and then they lose everything after that except for 1 conference game in the first week of November. In 2023, they go 8-3. They change up the playbook entirely. Only 2 regular season losses to Keyport and Shore, and they started off the season 4-0. Rolling out to the right side is Lund, and he will get taken down. I believe that's well ahead of the line of scrimmage. First down marker is at the 34. And it will be 2nd and short, a couple of yards on that one. So yeah, look, Manchester Township is a good program, and they go through their ebbs and flows just like any other program, just like we saw with Camden Eastside at noon earlier today. It was a matter of, look, they hadn't been under 500 in 10 years, dating back to 2014. And now the culture has changed. They don't have as many players as they used to, and obviously things are changing around there. But it is 2nd and short for Manchester and crew. Lund drops back, cuts through the middle, finds some space for himself, and I think that's going to be a loss, or at best, no gain. That'll be 3rd down and short for Manchester. As we are in our first set of downs here from the Hawks' Nest tonight, 1.5 minutes into this one, no score. Might see a score much earlier than what we saw earlier today. Camden Eastside and Pennsauken, first game in DWB football history to be scoreless at the end of the first half. And even after that, our first score didn't come until 1:50 left in the third on a rush by R.J. Blount. 3rd and short, sending Goins in motion. And off. I don't know where that went. It's either a first down or it's short by a yard. And they do put up the 4th down marker, so it is short by a yard. And Manchester Township will take the offense off the field, including Aiden Lund, and bring out the special teams unit. You know, I feel like this is something that's kind of a departure from what we see in the WJFL, where usually there is a lot more ambition in those WJFL schools to keep the offense on the field on 4th and short. These guys taking a lot more conservative of approach. Never mind, it goes to the fullback on a fake. Manchester thinks they have it. We'll see where they spot this. Hold on here. And yes, they do get it. Manchester Township with a fake punt. How about that? When I played college football 12 back in the day, I ran that play a lot. Back to the fullback. And he executed that perfectly. I didn't have any reservations or thinking that I didn't have any prior thoughts to think that they might punt or fake punt on their first set of downs. And yet they do it. Farrell with a gutsy move, and it works. 1st and 10 from the 35. Lund hands off to Goins, and he gets swallowed up behind the line of scrimmage. 2nd down. But sometimes when you are playing up to your opponents, you have to be gutsy like that. You have to be ambitious. You have to be a little bit audacious at times. And that's how you win ball games. And that's how guys like Tommy Farrell and Manchester Township win ball games, is by being gutsy, being risky, being unorthodox, out of the box. You know, whatever terminology you want to use to describe it, you got to stay a little bit loose. And that's what these guys have right here. So 2nd and 13 after the 3-yard loss. I believe Goins was on the rush. Couldn't tell exactly, but he's been involved in a couple of plays so far early in the first quarter. Lund from the shotgun, lines a pass to the left side, caught by Battle. Nizier Battle with the completion to get them within 10 yards of the first. And it will be 3rd down and mid-range, about 7 yards out.
3rd down and 7 for the NJSIAA.
So Hawks setting up shop, 3rd and 7 from the 38. We are 7:20 and counting in the first. Manchester Township looked like they were going to punt on 4th and 1, but instead pitch it out to the fullback. He gets them barely across for a 1st down. Trying to work on a hard count there. Lund immediately rolls out to the right. He cuts back to the left. He's got some trouble. He's going to keep the ball himself on a kick fake. He's got a 1st down, and he will rush out of the sideline at the 40. Aiden Lund gets himself across, and it's a Manchester 1st down. That is exactly what Lund wanted, and like I said, what do we say about the gutsy plays? That was a gutsy play. 3rd down, looked like he was going to check the ball downfield. Created room for himself. First of all, rushing out of the pocket to the right and then switching gears 180 and going to the left. And for a quarterback like Lund, who has, in addition to his 3,100 passing yards, he also has 815 rushing yards coming into tonight. 34 rush attempts across his first 5 games and 250 rushing yards. 13 career rushing touchdowns for Lund under center. Here comes the handoff to the left side. That will be a loss at the line of scrimmage from number 27, Avery Phillips, the senior. Still learning these new names. You know, these are not schools that we cover often. I keep a spreadsheet in my Dan Wilkins Broadcasting folder of how many times we've covered each school. And because I started out when I was a high school sophomore at Audubon, the most ever was Audubon. They're right now sitting at 138. And after that, you got Gloucester at 24, Pittman at 17, and then a 3-way tie with Gloucester Catholic, Paulsboro, and Gateway at 13 apiece. And these guys are just now getting into it. I don't know that many Shore Conference schools outside of maybe Toms River East that we have covered at all in any sport, whether it's for baseball or basketball or whatnot. We haven't been that far out. Lund throws it away, and I think they're going to say that his knee was down before I mean, the whistles were coming in as he was letting go of the ball, so I think that they are going to say that his knee was down before he got the ball out. And they will. So he will be marked back. Instead of that being an incompletion, it will be 3rd and 20-ish from the 47. Right in between the 47 and 48. No score midway through the first quarter. It's been all Manchester, and by that we mean Manchester has had the ball for the entire time. They had a fake punt, and I feel like if they don't convert here, they might go for the real thing this time. 3rd and 20 from their own 47. Lund finds a gap. He's ahead of the line of scrimmage, falling forward, and he gets to about 10 yards of the first from the 43, and an impressive effort by Lund to kind of waltz his way through the traffic, and I think this time, for real, they're going to bring out the punt team, and Manchester Township will send this one away. With Nizier Battle back to punt for Manchester, back to return for Rumson-Fairhaven looks like number 2, Jordan Anstrike. Line drive punt will land at the 20. Anstrike looks over to his left. Manchester is fighting for it, and that will trap them inside their own 5-yard line. So a big punt for Nizier Battle, and Manchester Township and Rumson-Fairhaven takes over with less than favorable, and even that's a bit of an exaggeration, very much less than favorable field position for the Bulldogs. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 95% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, you can book an appointment today at Suite E of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman, right off of Lambs Road. Defense takes over for Manchester, and Owen O'Toole will be seen on DWB cameras for the first time. 931 passing yards in 2024 as a senior, 11 TDs, 1 interception, and a career passing percentage of 60%. A rush over the middle, a swarm of everybody, almost all 22 players get huddled up on that one. And that'll be a gain of a couple yards for Rumson, about maybe 5. It will be a gain of 5, almost exactly on the dot. And they placed him at the 10, 2nd down and mid-range for RFH. Don't forget, on Tuesday, October 8th, we've got Tri-County Conference Soccer between the Delsea Crusaders and the Cumberland Colts. Of course, I should say that is really far out of where we are right now in Manchester. I'd say that's probably about 2 hours both ways between both. Handoff to the fullback. Couldn't tell who exactly. That's number 40 on the carry. That is Luke Doherty. As the fullback getting some action. I like to see the fullback getting involved. I feel like it's kind of a dead position or a dying position. The NFL, in college, in high school. And I think high school's been using them the most for what it's worth. They have been utilizing the fullback to their potential. And of course, that depends on if you have one. And it also depends on if you have one that fits the mold that you want. Because some teams have neither, and some teams have one attribute instead of the other. Handoff to the right side. To number 7, Kellen Murray. And that'll bring it 3rd and short for Rumson. O'Toole dropping back, looking for his first pass of the night. It is picked off! Picked off by Manchester. No. He did not hold on to the ball. Oh, man, a gut punch for Manchester as they could have picked off O'Toole. Just his 2nd interception of the season. It almost went into the hands of number 14, Aiden Phillips-Frazee. And instead of a Frazee crowd going crazy, it's 3rd down. Third and 4. So O'Toole's pass is incomplete, although it was about a half second away from being picked off by Phillips-Frazee. Now passing to the flat. This should be a first down for Rumson, and it will be. That was completed to number 11, Dom Hunt, the 5'6" junior who has racked up a handful of, I'm sorry, that is not number 11. That is Nicholas Economo. And another rush over the middle. This one's got some room. And it gets all the way up to the 35 on the rush by Murray. And they are hurrying it up on offense. No huddle offense here as they are keeping the momentum swift and quick. As Murray, who reached 1,000 career rushing yards last week versus Middletown South, now looking to strike again. Murray on the carry. I'm sorry, that is number 3, Nick Thomas. And we have our first flag of the evening late in the first. It is an offensive hold. So a good setback for Manchester and a bad one for Rumson. So let's see what they've got in store as they are now backed up to 1st and 20. I mean, hey, kudos to them. They were running a no-huddle offense. Kellen Murray got the ball over the middle. Seemed like a really good plan in practice, but ends up biting them on the offensive hold. That one is caught by Economo. And it goes to within 10 yards of the first. They gain they gain 10 yards on the pass completion to Economo. And that'll be 2nd down. We've got a minute to play in the first. Again, hurrying it up on the offense. O'Toole from the shotgun. Lets this one fly. Oh, did not get reeled in. Almost did by Arthur Tamburo. But instead, the incompletion stops us at 49. I mean, that was a kind of play that in the WJFL and what we usually do in South Jersey Group 1, that would be an ambitious play. But for a guy like Owen O'Toole, if you've got 5,000 passing yards, that's not an ambitious play. That's just another Saturday evening for you. If you're just joining us, no score late in the first quarter. It's 3rd down and 10. RFH had an offensive holding call that knocked them back, but they had a 10-yard completion right after. Handoff to Murray. Up the middle, he finds lightning fast speed to get a first down. And an easy first for the Bulldogs. Again, running with a no huddle here, trying to get a couple extra plays off. I mean, look, if you're a Rumson team that has scored 34 points or more in all 4 of your games this season, maybe the hurry-up offense makes sense. Here goes Murray, over the middle, diving towards the goal line. I believe that's short by about 2 yards. Now they're hurrying up again. They've got 11 seconds left. These guys are relentless. And it's efficient as well. Handoff, Murray. Did he find it? The ball came out, apparently, and I think Manchester just recovered the football. How about that? That will end the quarter. But an unbelievable stop at the goal line, and it's going to remain scoreless as Manchester hangs on to the football and gets it back. Man, great work there, and we'll be right back. Well, what a break for Manchester Township at the final play of the first quarter. Rumson-Fairhaven, who had been running a no-huddle offense on their entire first offensive drive, gets to the 4-yard line, and in fact, I think they got even closer than that. They end up fumbling the ball at the goal line. Manchester Township takes over, and an incredible turn of events for the Hawks as they are going to try to find their way in their second offensive drive. So the first play of the second quarter will be backed up deep for Manchester. Of course, their first offensive possession lasted about 6 or 7 minutes before Rumson took over on a punt, sending Goins in motion. Handoff. Gets a couple of yards out of that, but not too much. Probably second down for Manchester. But incremental progress is still good progress. And that's exactly the motto that these guys are living by. You know, they faked an entire punt on their first set of downs just for an extra yard. They weren't doing it to get to the end zone. They were doing it to keep the drive alive and extend everything that they had. So, you know, fact that they were able to do that is a real testament to the uniqueness of Farrell's offense and what he's been able to do. But he also has to change his plays a little bit versus Rumson, because they're playing an entirely different team than, say, Barnegat or Jackson Liberty. Lund took it himself, and he gets taken down, still inside the 10-yard line. The first down marker is at the 15, and this will be third and mid-range for the Hawks. But still a beautiful night. 74 degrees here in Manchester. I honestly thought, you know, as somebody who doesn't visit the Jersey Shore often, I thought I was going to feel the shore breeze, but we're a little too far inland for that. If we go 15 minutes to the east, maybe we would see the Point Pleasant and Toms River shore breeze, but we don't have connections with any of those schools. 3rd and 5. Lund in trouble, tripping himself up, gets a big hit. And Lund will get some help up as this will be 4th down. So what ended up seeming like a big black eye for Rumson-Fairhaven after turning the ball over on the goal line now ends up not being too bad. You force a 3 and out, these guys will punt, and depending on where Nazir Battle places this ball, I mean, the last punt he had trapped him inside their own 5. He's not a punter on the roster. He's officially listed as a wide receiver and defensive back, as is very common in South Jersey. But he punts this one towards the back of the end zone. Kind of a knuckleball gets taken into the 40. And Rumson-Fairhaven finds a whole bunch of room. And they are going to return this to inside the red zone. We have a flag on the punt. So let's see what this is all about. Actually, we also have an injured Manchester player as well. So the penalty is on Rumson, but we do have a Manchester player down. Can't tell who that is just yet, but no score, 9:37 left in the second. If you're just joining us, no score here in the second. This is part 2 of a DWB doubleheader. Earlier today, we were at Pennsauken High School for coverage of Camden East Side and Pennsauken, a little bit further a little bit closer to our normal comfort zone, but a final score of 13-8, an exciting final. First score wasn't made until 1:50 left in the third quarter. R.J. Blunt scored both touchdowns for Pennsauken. Camden East Side got in with 45 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and they converted on a 2-point conversion. And now getting up is number 50. That is Anthony D'Antonio. And Rumson-Fairhaven, kind of buried in all of that, was a penalty on RFH. On the punt return, I should say. And that knocks the Bulldogs back to the 35. They originally returned it to inside the red zone at the 16, but now O2 will have a little bit more work to do. Here from the shotgun, rolls it out to the left on play action. Just behind the line of scrimmage, gets hit hard by Nazir Battle, and the pass got picked off. It got picked off by Manchester. Pressure all around. Battle hit O'Toole as he threw, and the home crowd is fired up as that was taken away. I think that was number 3, Malik Farmers. So we think it's Malik Farmers who got the pick. And Manchester again takes over deep in their own territory. And we've got an official timeout. Not sure. Illegal substitution. So that'll change things up a little bit. In attendance tonight, the very passionate Manchester student section, wearing all red and white. I don't know if it's a USA theme or anything, but maybe it's just a red out game. I'm not sure, but they're passionate. And there really isn't like a dedicated student section. They just kind of mingle wherever they can, and these grandstands are a little funky. Here comes a rush that finds Reed! He finds Reed! He's at the 40! How far will he fly? He's at the 35! First down, Manchester! Well, we were talking about Avery Phillips, the senior, and a flag brings it back. Oh, man. They giveth and taketh away. Oh, boy. You hear some rumbling and some booing, but we saw it plenty of times with Camden Eastside and Pennsauken earlier today, that what ends up happening is you have this big play, everybody gets excited, and then somebody has to point out, we've got a flag in the backfield, and they're back at their own 3. So all of that for nothing. And Manchester and Rumson-Fair even still scoreless after what was a 60-yard rush by Avery Phillips, the senior back. Now the holding call brings them back to the 3. Lunn in the shotgun. He's got a man to his left and to his right. Handoff over the middle. Will get stopped. I don't know where that was, but it definitely wasn't a gain of much. Wonderful complex here in Manchester. The grandstands are a little awkward, I'll say that. The steps are a little wide and they're a little deep, but you know, the fact that we're out here in the first place, I can't complain too much. You know, I'm happy to be here, happy to celebrate the 3-year anniversary of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. But it's been exciting so far tonight. As Manchester Township donning all red. Not a lot of empty seats on that Rumson-Fairhaven side either. Fans, the stands have mostly filled up here for a Saturday night special. Lunn throws out of his end zone. He finds a man across the 50. He is in there. Number 12. Lunn passed to Marquise Goins. And that is a first down with authority, with an exclamation point. How about that? Manchester's crowd has been through a roller coaster so far tonight. They have been to the highest highs and the lowest of lows, and now they can finally rejoice with a first down across the 50 at the 45. But that is what makes a quarterback like Aiden Lunn and a quarterback like Owen O'Toole so great. Here finds some room. Some big contact with the upper body for number, I think that was Phillips again on the carry. That's another Manchester first down. These guys are driving hard across the field. You know, I think they're trying to make up for what they couldn't do earlier. You know, look, they picked off Rumson. They took care of a goal line fumble, couldn't execute. And now, things are a little different. Manchester's got that fire in their belly. They are hyped up. The crowd is behind this team. The sideline is behind this team. They're ready to go. Lund goes out of the play action. It is caught. He gets hit hard. Number 44. He will stay on his feet and get wrestled out of bounds inside the 30. It is caught by Dante Moralite. We've got a defensive flag on this one. Oh, so in addition to completion, it is a face man. Listen to this crowd. They are loving it. Timeout is going to be called by Rumson-Fair. They burned their first of the half with 6:07 remaining in the second quarter. We'll be right back. Still scoreless, but this crowd is energetic on both sides. Still live from Manchester here. No score. 6:07 left in the second quarter. Rolling back, lets it fly to the back of the end zone. Did he catch it? Touchdown, Manchester! You had a feeling that was going to happen with how proactive the offense has been in this first drive. It took them until halfway through the second quarter. He finds Goins in the back of the end zone in the far corner. And it's 6-0 Hawks. That's an incredible catch, I'll tell you that. And hold the phone. We've got a flag on the point after attempt. Offside. It is offsides call. Didn't say which side it was, so because you can have an offensive offsides. So I know Kadarius Toney was infamous for that last year for Kansas City. This will be kicked. And it is up, away, and good by number 55, Ian Spicer. And Manchester gets first blood here versus Rumson-Fair. 7-0 here from Manchester at the Hawks' Nest. We'll be right back. 7-0 Manchester over Rumson-Fair. What a night so far here in Manchester. Manchester will be ready to kick off after the touchdown in the back of the end zone. I believe that was Marquise Goins who made the catch. I'll have to reaffirm that in replay. This one sent away from the 35, taken in at the 25 by Rumson. They'll get taken down right around midfield. And that's where Rumson will take care of business here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Goins who made that catch. Hawks lead 7-0. O'Toole with a pocket pass. And it's complete down the near sideline to number 4. That was complete to RFH's number 4, Jack Gimmies. But both of these quarterbacks drawing some high-level collegiate interest, tripping up Kellen Murray on the play. 3rd down and short. Should be about a yard to the first down marker. But, I mean, here's the thing, whether it's going to be 3rd down here. But both of these teams are, and especially Aiden Lunn and Owen O'Toole, they're drawing high-level interest. So whether you're going from, a Hawk to a college program that, is going to treat you well with NIL and whatnot, these guys are ready to go, and both of these senior quarterbacks are ready to play out their senior campaign and win some hardware. This is a 1st down for Kellen Murray. And Rumson-Fair gets across. First and 10 for Rumson-Fair as Murray moves the chains for the Bulldogs. Here comes a play action to the left side. O'Toole will rush, gets tripped up, and that might be enough for another 1st down for Rumson. I mean, hey, if they can be efficient and find the end zone before the end of the half, that would be a nice way to reset things for Rumson. You don't want to end the half on a whimper, and you've got time. You're inside the 25 now with 4 minutes and 15 seconds and counting. So you have time on your side. A rush up the middle doesn't get too much substance on it. So, by the way, just a heads up on that Manchester interception. That was taken in by number 14, Aiden Phillips-Freeze. That ball is caught on the far sideline. And it will get Rumson either on the doorstep of the red zone or in the red zone. And it will get them far into the red zone. I was counting my yard markers wrong. They're closer to the 10 now. 1st and 10 from the 11. Just need a couple more yards for 1st and goal. This one rolls out to the right for O'Toole. He points to his man, floats it, and it's incomplete. Intended for number 2, Jordan Anstridge. And that will bring up 2nd down and 10. A lively crowd tonight here from Manchester. The folks wearing red. I don't know exactly what the occasion is, but it's a red kind of night. Whole lot of red. And also a whole lot of pink as well for breast cancer awareness here in October. Let's see what they got. 2nd and 10 for the Bulldogs. Handoff to Murray. Finds room. And that's a touchdown, Rumson. Kellen Murray finds the end zone. And an extra point would tie it with 3 minutes and a chunk of change to play in the first half. And the Bulldogs, shockingly not on a passing touchdown by Owen O'Toole, but instead on a 7-yard rush by Kellen Murray, the junior back, class of 26. And it is 7-6. This is going to be sent away by I think that's number 11. I know that Jacob Tobias is holding, and it is sent away and good from number 1, Carson Mehmet, the tight end. He's been the kicking specialist for Rumson tonight, and not only has he had a handful of successful kickoffs, he also has kicked the extra point to tie things up. 3:20 left in quarter number 2. We'll be right back.
Two minutes remaining. 4 fouls on St. Joe's. One more and it's a bone. BB and Copsetta trading a couple looks. They know what's going on. Full count. Bases loaded. 2 outs. Just like they drew it up in Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons in the Ralph Shaw Classic 26th annual. They are back on top for the first.
Back live from Manchester Township in the Hawks' Nest. Rumson-Fair and Manchester Township tied at 7 apiece. As maybe a little humbler to the Manchester student section here as Mehmet sends this one away. This will be returned at the 10. I think that was Phillips on the return. No whistles yet. Still on his feet, and finally whistles fly after a 11-second kickoff return that does not get too far, and Rumson will trap Manchester inside their own 20. And the Hawks take over on 1st and 10. This broadcast is brought to you by Garden State Pet Center. Keep your pet happy and healthy today with the most organic food products available in South Jersey, including toys, cages, accessories, and more. Visit 7 days a week, 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon. And also, all commercials you see on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting are filmed, recorded, edited, and produced by myself and my wonderful crew. All funds from commercials go towards college funds, as I am a college freshman at Rowan College in South Jersey, and helps towards travel costs like going to Manchester Township and doing work like this for high school football and upgrading our equipment. 1st and 10 for the Hawks. Handoff to Goins is going to not get too far. 2nd down. Oh. We also have a Venmo. Our Venmo is at DW Broadcasting. No contributions are, of course, required, but they are incredibly appreciated as we go throughout this football campaign. And, you know, like I said, college is not easy. Our Venmo is DW Broadcasting. No spaces, no hyphens. And, of course, I try not to beg too much on these broadcasts, but, you know, we're not getting directly paid by Manchester Township for tonight. So if you want to help cover the gas of coming to Manchester Township, it would be incredibly, incredibly appreciated, and we'll be forever grateful. Some late shoves after the whistle, and it'll be 3rd down. Timeout called by Rumson. So Rumson burns their 2nd. We'll stay on the air, and it's 7-7. We've got 2 minutes and 14 seconds left in the first half. It has been an exciting first half so far. Rumson-Fairhaven had first blood with a touchdown pass to Goins. And then Rumson struck back with a 7-yard rush by number 7, Kellen Murray. And that's where we stand right now. I mean, you know, folks, this is our first ever Shore Conference game. Every DWB football game that we had done up to this point was either independent, and we had some that included Shore Conference opponents, like we covered New Egypt last year and Keensburg, but we had not had any games that involved 2 Shore Conference teams against each other. And we picked a great night to be here. So, again, big thanks to their Manchester's athletic director, the entire athletic staff, who has given us great hospitality here And, of course, Coach Tommy Farrell. He is one of the nicest, most down-to-earth head coaches in South Jersey. You know, he has aired out a lot of respect for Rumson-Fair. They are an incredibly well-coached team, is one of the things that he said. And, you know, you hear that from some coaches, but he said it with such sincerity. And, you know, look, he has a ton of respect for who he faces. And he said Manchester wanted to play Rumson-Fairhaven. This is what they wanted. And we've got a jumper. On the defensive edge, it is number 84, Ben Roberts, who ends up getting the call. And the "you can't do that" chants start to ring out, which is very true. But both teams seem to have been effective on the hard count tonight. You know, both teams have kind of tricked one another into falling for the deception. We'll see what Rumson has in the bag. It's 3rd and 3, or 3rd and 4-ish. First down marker is at the 30. Ball had a little trouble staying in Lund's hand, and it's incomplete. Intended for Phillips, broken up in the Rumson secondary, and partially by Carson Mehmet again, and also by number 8, Jacob Tobias. Fourth down, so it looks like Manchester will bring out the special teams unit. I mean, they've successfully faked a punt before, so the famous quote, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't put the blame on you." I don't think I said that as eloquently as those who originally did, but Manchester calls a timeout. They have burned their first of 3 here in the first half. We've got 2 minutes and a chunk of change left in the first half. We'll be right back as Fatboy Slim playing over the loudspeakers here in Manchester. We'll be right back. Coming back from break here, 2:08 left in the half. This one's up. They were going to call for a fair catch, but the the punt went a little too far off. It was going to be returned by Jordan Anstrike. And Rumson will take over inside their own territory, but still nice position nonetheless. I believe they're at their 48. Line drive pass to the left, caught by Anstrike. And finally, everything breaks. That was just a bubble that would not burst.
First down, Rumson-Fair.
7-7 ball game, 93 seconds to play in the first half. O'Toole. Handoff over the middle. Finds some substance on it. Ball is out. Manchester picks it up. Number 14, Aiden Phillips Frazee, excuse me, finds himself scrambling on top of the football, and Rumson has fumbled away a possession for the second time tonight. Wait a second. What? They're keeping the possession in Rumson's hands. Manchester calls a timeout, and maybe they said that he was down before the ball came out. I'm not sure. I didn't hear too many whistles, but a contentious call nonetheless. And we will remain on the air. A minute 15 left in the first half. A fun one tonight here from Rumson-Fair. Up next, or I should say coming up this week on DWB, Tuesday, October 8th, boys soccer between Delsea and Cumberland. In South Jersey Tri-County Conference action. That's 4 o'clock is the start time for that. Thursday, October 10th is the annual Cherry Hill West and Cherry Hill East rivalry. 6 o'clock on Thursday the 10th. It is the first time in the history of this 50-year rivalry that the game will be played under the lights at East. East installed lighting this year, and the game originally was played on Thanksgiving, got moved to the middle of October during the NJSIAA crossover weeks. That's where we'll be. Shalleck and Gloucester to follow on Friday, October 11th. Second and short for Rumson after a contentious call there. O'Toole will be given another shot. He passes it, and it is caught down the far sideline. I believe it was taken in by the tight end, Ganesi. And he did rush himself out of bounds. 1:11 in the second. And it's 1st and 10 for Rumson from the 14. So a chance to make up ground after Manchester struck first. And maybe the gold mine is a little bit deeper here in the Hawk's Nest. As we said, 1:11 to play in the second. O'Toole from the shotgun again. Handoff up the middle. He finds room, and he will dive into the end zone. Touchdown, Rumson. A rush straight up the middle. No ifs, ands, or buts by Jordan Enstrike. And Rumson has taken a 13-7 lead. It's exactly what you wanted. Waste no time. Make no mistake. And this will be another kick by Carson Mehmet. It is up, away, and good. So Rumson-Fairhaven breaks the tie, and they have scored 14 unanswered in the second quarter. So at the tail end of the first half, Rumson retakes the lead. We'll be right back. 14-7 over Manchester.
Doubleheader reached first on an error in the first at-bat of Game 2. This one's lined into center field. Slider going over. He dives. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Ryan Slider makes the catch. Not on a slide, but instead on a dive. 2 away.
We are rocking out for Manchester. We like to have fun around here. 14-7, Rumson gets in the end zone. And a strong kick by the Bulldogs is taken in at the 5. Manchester cuts this one out to the left. He finds some room. We've got a flag. We've got a tackle at the 45 after the return by Dom Rekas. Actually, I'm sorry, that's number 19, Amir Smith. But they're going to sort out this flag with Smith. Manchester Township having a very similar jersey strategy to Triton, where they do not put the players' names on the back, but instead they put discipline. Speaking of discipline, Manchester continues to be disciplined with a offensive flag on the return. So Manchester gets tagged with holding on the kickoff return. There's Tommy Farrell on the sideline. Okay, personal foul on Rumson. Those boos went to yays very quickly in the Manchester student section. I was going to say, what's the situation there, that the penalty's offset or not, but... So, after the holding call, things actually seem a little bit more sunny for Manchester with 56 seconds left. They're going to get it from the 40, so... Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, they did offset. Like we said, the holding call and then the personal foul. Shaking things up a little bit here at Manchester, the Hawks' Nest. We've got 56 seconds left in the first half. Manchester needs 60 yards to find the end zone and tie this game back up. Aiden Lund. Back at it again. Takes it from the shotgun. Dropping back. Finds a gap in the middle. He'll rush. And he will step out of bounds around the 50. It'll be an easy first down for Manchester. I think the question is, where do they spot it? They do spot it across the 50 at the 48. We'll get ready to go for the 48. One again, and that is maybe the most egregious false start I've ever seen. He was about 15 yards downfield before the snap. I can't help but laugh. I mean, it's an honest mistake. It is an honest mistake, but yeah, that was a false start. Oh boy. 14-7 Rumson. Manchester took an early lead on a great catch in the end zone. However, Rumson has scored 14 unanswered. Here goes Lund again. Line drive pass caught. Cutting over to the left. He needs to get out. And got hit late. And they're gonna say he stayed inbound from Amir Smith. Running the no-huddle offense as they should with 28 seconds left, and they'll spike it. 26.2 now. And hold the phone here. We've got something. All right, nothing there. So, officials call timeout. I wonder what this is about. So, I mean, they spiked the ball with 26 seconds left, and then before these guys left the huddle, they blew the whistle. So Tommy Farrell having a discussion with the Whitecap and the officials, obviously trying to decipher what, is being said, what is going on. So a slight delay. No timeout has been charged, we should mention. Both teams have one timeout remaining. But all four out of the 6 on-field referees are trying to decipher this. So Farrell's discussing something, and they just moved them up a couple of yards, I think. What is the concern is my question.
Third down for Manchester.
It is third down for the Hawks. It's 3rd and 7 after the spike. And they'll be up from the 45. Immediately, offensive line fails. Pass is caught over the middle. They have a timeout left, and Farrell does call the timeout. Or at least I think. No, they did not call a timeout. So Lund immediately has to run back to the line of scrimmage. They've got 12 seconds left. Lund thought that they called the timeout, but they did not. Pass is tipped. It's caught anyway. And he will rush out of bounds with 4 seconds left. That felt a little late, if I'm being impartial. That felt like they maybe could have stopped it with a second more once he rushed out of bounds. So the ball is on the opposing 30 as Manchester is trying to even up this score before the half. Rumson will receive the ball to start the second half. So I feel like if you're gonna go for gold, do it now. Manchester burned their final timeout. We'll be right back. 4.7 left to play in the first half. One more play to run in the first half, 14-7. Trying to run a hard count. It's unsuccessful. He gets tugged. He'll let the pass fly. It is deep. Picked off by Rumson in the end zone. They bring it out of the end zone to the 10. And that will end the first half on a successful INT for Rumson as Lund threw it to the back of the end zone. Unfortunately found a man of the opposition. And after 2 here in Manchester, Rumson hangs on to the 14-7 lead, and they will have first possession in the second half, so that should be fun. But the Hawks and Bulldogs have been duking it out for the past 24 minutes. It has been a fun night here in Manchester so far. We will be right back after this.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
1-0 Red Bank. Now here is Al D'Elia. The man they used to call Big Al has now slimmed down, and he still hits dingers. He went viral in 2018 for his catchphrase during the Little League World Series when he was introduced by the ESPN camera crews and was given his standard introduction. He said, "Hi, my name's Big Al, and I hit dingers." And that sentiment still holds true today. He had his first career high school home run versus Rumson-Fair in their opening game of the campaign last week. There's a swing and a miss, 0-2. But D'Elia, kind of a folk hero for baseball players who just want to hit the ball far and have fun while doing it. The poster child now is the poster big fella. Fly ball right center field. This is going to be a sac fly. Taken in by Terranova, and Big Al might not hit dingers, but he certainly drives in runs. It's 2-0. Launches one foul. See, Mostero's doing us a service here. Or excuse me, D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro's doing us a service here. He's letting us have this conversation by having a long at-bat. But a lot of people are still caught up in the D1 or bust mentality. Listen to this crowd. Listen to this crowd. We'll talk about that later. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Clapping it up here for the Roadrunners. 2-2. Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! 3-run homer, D'Alessandro! And it's a 1-run game at the crack of the bat, 5-4. 3-run shot to center field. Trailing towards the right center, and the cleanup man does exactly what the position orders, cleaning up. And he does it incredibly well with a 5-4 game. He battles for 11 pitches and makes. Excuse me, Goldberg is a shortstop tonight, but he had a 400 average in 2023 as a junior. A homer in each of his sophomore and junior campaigns, 331 career mark and a 430 career slugging percentage. And speaking of home runs, there's a fly ball to left, and it's gone! Devin Goldberg answers on opening day with a first pitch rocket to left, and it's 1-0 Bridgewater. We were just talking about the long ball, and he stomps on the plate, mobbed at home, and Goldberg, the leadoff man, with a swing of gold. It's 1-0. Late switch for the visitors. Again inside their 5. Oh, they're going to pitch this one back for the flea flicker. Touchdown, West. Oh, my goodness. Taking inspiration from Nick Foles and Trey Burton. I think they just pulled off the Philly special. That is the greatest touchdown I have ever seen. Well, maybe not the greatest touchdown I've ever seen. Maybe that's stretching a little bit, but one of the greatest touchdowns we've seen in a long time. And it's a tie game.
All right, well, the score on the bottom says it all. It's 14-7. Rumson-Fair over Manchester. You know what? It doesn't really say it all. I think that this game has been very good start to finish, and we picked a good night to be here, celebrating the 3-year anniversary of our company's founding, with David Cohen here tonight. It is an honor to be here at the Shore Conference. Not a place where we usually hang out, but for a Saturday night, I like this energy. The student section came here in droves. They packed the line so much that it took me 3 minutes to get to the restroom. But, look, these guys are loving it. And honestly, I think Manchester is one of those student sections that is always mobile and is always active no matter what the predicament is, whether they're losing by 30, whether they're an hour away. They'll show up. I've seen it before. These guys are passionate. And so is the team. Aiden Lunn has done an amazing job at quarterback tonight, but so has Owen O'Toole. This was advertised as a battle of the quarterbacks, and they delivered. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Both QBs have delivered. Rumson has had a problem with turnovers, as they have fumbled 2 possessions away, but they have the lead. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Holy Cross and Riverside from earlier this month, where, Holy Cross and Riverside, it was a 19-14 game. Holy Cross won, but Riverside led in passing yards, rushing yards, and receiving yards, and still lost the game 19-14. So I'm a little bit conflicted. The quarterbacks have been proactive tonight, and the offenses have certainly been up-tempo, especially Rumson-Fairhaven running 80% of their offense out of the no-huddle. So these guys might get some more points on the board, and maybe it'll go back and forth, and we'll see what happens. But Manchester Township's playing up tonight, and they're making sure that their name is known here in the Shore Conference. So these guys are about a minute away from kicking off, so we are going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with 24 more minutes of Shore Conference football right here on DWB. (14-7) is Manchester Township under the Stars and Stripes. You can see the fire ladder that was able to make that possible. If Dan Antonelli is watching, he should know that this press box is set up exactly like Clayton's is. I honestly think it was made by the same company, if I'm being frank. I think the same company made it. Same things on the walls, same light switches, same everything. But what hasn't been the same is the quality of play. These guys are playing a tough football game, hard-nosed football game tonight. And not to knock Clayton, but this game is definitely on edge. Onside, squib kick, I don't think that made it far enough. It landed at the 50. Yeah, you heard that fair and square. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that or if that was just botched. It didn't look like an accident, is what I'll say. It didn't look like that was an accidental, oh crap, the kick got messed up, that looked pretty on the nose to me. But I could very well be wrong. Rush over to the left side. Hurry on the carry. If you're just joining us, we have just begun the second half. And Rumson-Fair with the ball from the 39. O'Toole drops back. Pass is caught. Sorry, I lost sight of the football while it was in transition. I didn't know if he got the pass off. It is complete to Angstrike. So some criticism from the home faithful on their own team. Dropping back again, O'Toole in trouble, finds his way out of it, spins around, he is at the 10. So that ends up being a big gain for Rumson. And again, they're keeping this offense rather up-tempo with O'Toole. If the offense can be successful while being efficient, look, you know, Rumson has scored 34 or more in all 4 of their undefeated wins this season. Handoff to Murray. Whoa, bit of extracurriculars there in the end zone. But everything seems to be okay as Kellen Murray on the carry. It'll be 2nd and goal for Rumson-Fair. Also, big thanks to the Shore Sports Network for giving us a follow on Twitter. We appreciate your work and what you do for South Jersey. As this one is going to be fired off to the left. He was hit as he threw, and he was throwing out of the sack. So Manchester puts the pressure on and forces the incompletion for 3rd and 7. Crowd get back into it again. One of the things about Manchester is that they seem to be better when the crowd is better. When the crowd is on their feet, they are on their feet. They are energized. They get a little boost. It's called home field advantage for a reason, and these guys have it. The passion that exists in this Hawk Nest community is really incredible. Murray with a rush up the middle. He dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Rumson. And Murray strikes twice for his 2nd touchdown of the evening. And RFH extends their lead to 20-7 in just the 2nd minute of the 2nd half. So the onside kick that did not go to plan ends up biting Manchester dearly. This PAT is up, away, and good. Mehmet is 3 for 3 on kicks for Rumson-Fairhaven, and the Bulldogs take a 21-7 lead here very early in the 3rd quarter. We'll be right back. You know, it kind of feels weird with the Phillies losing tonight. We are not entirely in Phillies territory. The Jersey Shore is mostly a Mets-Yankees area. We've seen some Mets gear tonight, so they're certainly happy about it. Manchester returns this deep in their own territory, and Rumson will end up taking care of this one inside, well inside the 20. And Rumson up by 2 scores now over Manchester. This broadcast is brought to you by the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, or Dog Wrestling. The Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators are the premier professional wrestling organization in South Jersey, with star-studded events across the state and high-flying action for all to see, including former WWE specialists, ECW appearances, and all over the professional wrestling scene. They meet with Dog Pro Wrestling. For more information on their upcoming events and how to get involved and get tickets, visit dawgprowrestling.com, DAWG prowrestling.com. Handoff up the middle. Not too much substance on that one. believe that carry was by Phillips. That was Avery Phillips who took that one in. Lund drops back. He has room. He did not shed away from the tackler. He braced for impact. And the sack is made by number 50, Ben Gradell. And now this will set up 3rd and long as Lund gets sacked by Gradell. And it'll be 3rd and 13 for Manchester. By the way, part of the reason why these guys are wearing red tonight, the Shore Conference lost a good friend in Coach Angelo Morocco of Keyport High School. He passed away earlier this week at the age of 38. He was the offensive coordinator at Keyport from 2018 to 2023 after a previous stint at Plainfield and Pascack Valley. Lund passing through the defensive line. It's caught and a very late hit. We have a flag in, and I don't know if it's for that hit on Tobias, but he's high-fiving his teammates as if it is a personal foul. I mean, he came in like a heat-seeking missile, and I don't think there's much sugarcoating on that one. We'll see what they have to say about it, but we'll see what happens here. And it is a personal foul on Manchester. That late hit by number 13, Dom Rekus. He certainly caused some ruckus. And the personal foul on Manchester brings them further back. Last thing you want if you're Manchester is to let this game get out of your hands with penalties and petty penalties at that. You know, you didn't need that personal foul. I mean, obviously, that goes without saying, but just got to limit those bad penalties. A punt goes to the 30, and the backspin brings the ball out to the 28. And that is where Rumson-Fair will take over with very good field position as Manchester is forced to punt out of their own end zone on 4th and long. And this will be a change of hands for Rumson-Fair. For the Bulldogs, for the remainder of their 2024 campaign, they are on the road at Red Bank Catholic on Thursday, October 10th. That game will be streamed by NJ.com. And then RFH closes out the season with back-to-back home games versus Donovan Catholic on the 18th at 7, and 7 o'clock versus Colts Neck on October 25th. Handoff to the left side for Murray. He dives and gets much more than a first down as Rumson again taking control and taking authority of this drive and certainly humbling the home crowd. Manchester has a man down. For Manchester, for the remainder of the season, after 4 straight home games, they are on the road for the remainder of the campaign. They are away at Lakewood on the 12th of October, away at Point Pleasant Beach and the Garnet Gulls at 7 o'clock, and then away at Monmouth on the 25th of October. That's a 6:30 p.m. game versus the 0-6 Monmouth Falcons. Currently, Farrell and crew with a 4-1 record, 3-0 in the Shore C-South Division. And we don't have any graphics made up for the Shore Conference standings, but in C-South, Manchester Township currently is the only undefeated team, and it's the only undefeated team remaining in the C-South. Manchester Township at 3-0, Pinelands at 3-2 with a 2-1 division record. Barnegat and Lakewood are at 3-3. Jackson Liberty at 1-2 divisional, 2-4 overall, and Monmouth is the only winless team in that regard at 0-6. For Rumson-Fairhaven, they are also atop the A North Division. They are the only undefeated overall team, but they have another competitor in Red Bank Catholic who is undefeated divisionally. Both teams are 3-0, which is why that Thursday game is so important, because that could lock up the A North title if both of those teams win out after Thursday. Marlboro is at 3-3. Middletown South, who RFH played last week, is at 2-4. Long Branch at 1-4, and Colts Neck at 0-5. That is the team that RFH closes out their regular season campaign against on October the 25th. Gets about 4 yards on the rush by the Bulldogs.
Getting down to the right period, and I'm looking at 211.
7 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the third. Rumson-Fairhaven already with a touchdown in this third quarter, trying to extend that lead. Here comes a handoff over the middle. Whistles are finally blown. Murray again on the carry. And hold on here, official timeout. They're going to tell Rumson-Fairhaven to take a couple steps back. Are they going to try to spot this with the old chain and... yeah, they are going to spot this with the old chains. You know, you talk about innovation and technology. This is still bare bones, archaic. You know, exactly what you want in the year 2024, and it is a Rumson first down. So that should bring up first and goal. And if not, it'll be 1st and 10 from the 11-ish. So a win-win either way for Rumson. But when we were talking to Coach Farrell before the game, it was just a matter of, you know, we want this game to be competitive. We know that this game can be competitive if our team puts in the work. And right now, Rumson is shutting down all of that as a swarm of purple and white over the middle. But this has been a warm welcome to the Shore Conference. I'm glad that we have some new folks that are checking out Dan Wilkins Broadcasting for the first time. You know, because this is not our normal, this is not our normal stomping ground. Like I said, my producer David is a graduate of Seneca High and Tabernacle. I'm a graduate of Audubon. This is about an hour and 15 minutes away from my home. So I'm happy to be here, by all means. And we did receive a couple of donations for tonight's game, so it is incredibly appreciated. As to the left, another couple of barraging hits, and it is a touchdown Rumson as they score it again, their second TD of the half. As the lights went out in the press box for a couple of seconds, Rumson now takes a 27-7 lead with 6:08, as Manchester has not been on the best, I don't know what the right word is without ticking anybody off. They just haven't had the best night so far. 6:08, and Mr. Mehmet is 4 for 4 on those old point after attempts. So a quick spot brings them inside the 10, and a quick rush up the middle makes it 28-7. Rumson-Fairhaven will be right back right after this. Rumson will kick off, and the man who is 4 for 4 on point after attempts tonight, Carson Nemeth. He will send this one away from the old 40. This one is up. This is going to be a kicking out of bounds penalty as it rolled out inside the 10, but no cigar there, and this will be, well, remember, they have two options. They can knock it back 5 yards and re-kick, but the most popular option, of course, is to take the penalty and take over from the 40, which Manchester would need that. Where they're at right now, they're down by 3 scores. Definitely, they need the help, to say the least. And not to say that Manchester has played a bad game, but I feel like they've been slightly outmatched by Rumson-Fair. And that's one of those things where you kind of have to tip your cap and say, yeah, the score's a little bit out of hand, but it could be so much worse. I mean, what happened with Tulane and UAB today? I think it was like 73-10 or something like that in college football at the mid-major scene. So this game is still a respectable score. And look, you know, one of the first games I ever called was Gloucester and Audubon in the fall of 2022. That was for the NFHS network before we started doing football for DWB. And guess what? I mean, it was an incredible 26-point comeback. Lunn has it himself. Dumps off the pass. It's incomplete. A hard hit on Battle. And Battle is down. Pass was incomplete, and Battle got hit hard in the crossfire. And he's being attended to by Coach Farrell and by the athletic staff. As man, that was a bad hit. Yeah, you could just leave it like that. So still being attended to, Nazir Battle. He's had a couple of good receptions tonight. Just looking back at the play on my phone, Lunn was under pressure, and honestly, I don't know, that the hit didn't seem that hard on the camera, but I think he got hit at an awkward angle from his left. And he will walk off the field under his own power without assistance. I think, honestly, as bad as that hit looked, I think that was a case of getting the wind knocked out of you. You know, nothing is broken, nothing is torn, but you can't breathe. I'm not a football player by any means, but I've had that happen on the backyard trampoline a couple of times. You know, you land awkwardly, and you're like, oh my God, what is happening? And that's a situation like that where you just need to catch your breath. You hope the Battle is okay as he is on the sideline, standing under his own power. It looked like he's getting ready to come back into the game after this play. 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Lunn rolls it out to the right. It is caught. This will be a first down for Phillips. And they'll get this one right around midfield. And it will be a first down for the Hawks, as Rumson has jumped out to a 28-7 lead. Hawks convert on a first down. Hawks take it over just shy of midfield at their own 48. 12 dropping back. It is caught. Getting wrestled to the ground. Number 19 for the Hawks, Imir Smith. And that is back-to-back first downs for the Hawks. That's exactly what they need. The crowd is getting back into it. They gave up 2 touchdowns. Manchester's ready to roll again. And that's something that you can't ignore, is the home field energy. You know, if you can get into Rumson's head, you can get yourself in a favorable position. And we'll see what Rumson can counter with, or what Manchester can attack with now that they're across the 50. Lund gets tugged a little bit. He will go to the ground. A couple of purple and white on that one. A gain of 1 as Lund was basically trying to avoid the sack and then accidentally gained a yard out of it. So back-to-back first downs for Manchester, and now things are starting to mellow out again with 4 minutes, 20 seconds, and counting in the third quarter. Manchester trails Rumson by 21, as after a second quarter touchdown, Rumson has scored 21 unanswered. Intended from the left side and incomplete. It's 3rd and 9. Vanderbilt just upset Alabama. Oh my gosh. That's incredible. 40-35. We'll see if Manchester can play the role of the Vanderbilt Commodores tonight. That is shocking. I mean, I'm disappointed that the Phillies lost, but that's incredible. Speaking of incredible, here comes the Rumson defensive line. He lets a pass off, and he gets helped up by his O-line. That'll set up 4th down and long.
There's a funny story behind that Alabama win.
Really?
Yeah,
What about it?
Nick Saban said earlier in the week that Vanderbilt is like the easiest place to play in the SEC. I understand he's not the coach in Alabama anymore, but that's pretty
He's
funny.
speaking from experience. Manchester will punt on 4th and 15. Hang strike back to return. High snap. Gets a good angle on this punt. And the fair catch is inside the 20. So that is where Rumson will take over, as a drive that had good intentions for Manchester ends up stalling out. And the Bulldogs take over with a 21-point lead. Remember, the new rule here for NJSIAA is the 33-point running clock. Last year and the years and years before that, it was 24 points. And if the team that was trailing re-entered 24 points or less at any point, the running clock would stop and we would go back to normal operations. In this year and beyond, the new rule for the NJSIAA is 33 points flat. If you reach a 33-point lead, as here comes a rush and a flag. Oh. Hold on here. I don't know what happened. It said OBS crashed. Holding on Rumson-Fairhaven. The program is still running. It said I kid you not, sorry, I had to interrupt myself there for a second because it said, whoops, OBS crashed, and it said send a crash report, and the program is still running. I still see the feed on the video, so I think our live stream is still running. Yeah, I hear myself, so pass is caught by Rumson. That was weird. I thought we got taken off the air for a second, but we did not. That'll be a first down for the Bulldogs. I mean, we learned our lesson a couple months ago, or a couple weeks ago with Holy Cross and Riverside. Missed basically the entirety of the fourth quarter because of an internet issue that just we did not realize at the time until there was a minute and 30 left, and we had to drastically and basically scramble to reconnect to the Wi-Fi hotspot that we have here in Manchester. We had to scramble to reconnect as Riverside is driving down the field for what could be or could have been a game-winning drive. So in addition to me having to call the game and having to hold the camera in my right hand because the window wouldn't lower enough for us to have a clear shot out the window and the glare was too bad, we had to also fix the Wi-Fi. A rush over the middle. Manchester takes care of it. And this will set up third and about 5. Crowd starting to get back into it again, but like I said, got a lot of work. Running away and into the end zone. No flags, and from 61 yards, they took care of it again. From number 2, Jordan Anstrike, and the Bulldogs, I do not see any flags, and it is a 34-7 game as they break away for 61 yards. And looking for his 5th PAT of the night. Kind of a whimper to this one, as that is a view through the uprights. 35-7. Rumson-Fair is taking care of business, and with a 28-point lead, they are 1 touchdown away from bringing this one to a running clock, which, remember, I was interrupted earlier by myself, basically, but if at any point the game reaches a 33-point lead, the running clock will run throughout the remainder of the game, regardless of the events that happen on the field, except for injuries, coaches' timeouts, and touchdowns are the only exception. So incompletions still run the clock through, and I don't know if I don't like the rule, honestly, because I'm just not a fan of running clocks in general, unless it's something that's mutually agreed on by both coaches. I don't feel like that should be something that's set in stone, in my opinion. Like we've had some college football games, like Texas Christian was up like 70-0 on Abilene Christian, something like that, an FCS program. And they were like, okay, we're going to do a 10-minute half. That was a mutual agreement between both coaches. I don't think that a running clock should be something that is standardized by the NJSIAA. I think that should be left up to the coaches to decide, in my personal opinion, whether you run the clock or not. Because comebacks are always possible in football. And I've seen comebacks before of over 33 points. So does that, that also means that you have to set up the definition for when a game becomes out of hand. Before, they said a game came out of hand at 24 because that's when they started the running clock. Now they say that the point of a blowout comes to 33. I don't really think there's a magic number for what a blowout would be. And maybe in a perfect world, it's somewhere between 24 and 33. But I don't know if there's a perfect number to really decipher that. But Rumson up 35-7 on Manchester. Sending Goins in motion. Dumps a pass off in motion, and it's incomplete. That was intended, I believe, for number 13, Bo Devine. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that was Bo Devine, who was the intended receiver. It's a little hard to tell under the lights. And everybody's moving so fast, it does get a little much, so we try our best here. Second and 10 after the incompletion. I'm sorry, to Reckes. Devine is on the other end of the football. And here we go. Manchester will look to outrun the RFH defenders, and he tumbles out of bounds for a gain of 50. Rumson-Fair with a nice gain of what will end up being 45 yards to the opposing 25. And I should hold myself corrected there. So that is a 55-yard gain by Avery Phillips, who again adds on to his total tonight, even in an effort that has not been the cleanest for Manchester. 1st and 10 for Lunn and crew. So 2nd down and 10, no gain on that previous play. Let's see. 40 seconds left in the 3rd. They're taking things a little conservatively here. And Manchester getting back into it as they are on the doorstep of the red zone. 5 yards away from that hardware. Lunn dropping back again. He's hit as he throws, and it's picked off by Rumson. Whistles are blown. Was it trapped? Was it incomplete? I don't know. I think Rumson got it, though. And it is intercepted by Rumson. So another drive by the Hawks goes sour. And with 16 seconds left, Rumson again will take over. They have been in the driver's seat almost all night. Man, you just got to feel for Manchester. They are they are trying everything they can to stay in this game and to stay competitive. And Rumson is beating them out at every turn, whether it's with defensive prowess or with turnovers and interceptions. You know, however you want to mark it, these guys have been incredibly efficient. Pass to the left side is incomplete. Heavy coverage there from number 19, Imir Smith, and number 53, Mason Davis. Actually, I'm sorry, no, number 44. I was way off on that one. Number 44, who is not on our roster. Still breaking up that pass for the Bulldogs. We've got 11.3 seconds on the clock. Rumson leads 35-7. That's a handoff that will send us to 5, 4, 3, a 2, and a 1. And that will end the 3rd quarter with a 35-7 lead as Rumson-Fairhaven tacks on another 2 scores, including a huge breakaway to the end zone of 61 yards from none other than Jordan Strike, who has been an X-factor in this Rumson offense tonight. As we will be right back with Rumson leading by 28. Start of the 4th quarter, Rumson set up on 3rd and 7. As Rumson scored 14 points, you know, we were talking about unanswered points. Manchester struck first in the 1st quarter. And then Rumson scored 14 unanswered before the half. And they have added on another 14 and another 21 in the 3rd quarter as a huge catch. That is good for number 1, Carson Mehmet. And driving across the field on the far sideline on 3rd and 7, an improbable catch that is taken in by Rumson. However, there is a penalty against Manchester to... I don't know. I did not see what the penalty was, to be honest with you. Okay, so it is defensive pass interference. I mean, it's one thing to get called for pass interference. It's another to get called for pass interference on a play that you completed. So 2 birds, 1 stone for Rumson, and they have been in control. Let's see what else is in store. O'Toole dropping back. He has help from the offensive line. Lets this one fly to the right, and incomplete. We have a flag. Yeah, we have a flag at the 45. I wonder if this is roughing the passer. It's on Rumson. Whatever it is, it's on Rumson. Did you see that, David? Did not see that flag. All right, there you go. Question answered. It is holding against Rumson. Don't forget our next broadcast will be Tuesday, October 8th, in a matchup between Delsea and Cumberland in Tri-County Conference Soccer. We then travel over to the virtual banks of Norwalk, Connecticut, as it's Lime Rock Park in round 3 of 12 in season 8 of the simulated competitive online racing experience, 9 o'clock on Wednesday. Thursday, October 10th is Cherry Hill West and East in the annual West-East rivalry game from Cherry Hill East for the first time ever in that 50-year rivalry under the lights at East. Some extracurriculars after the play. And they'll settle things here. 2nd down and about 10. So they got hit with a holding penalty and now gain another 10 yards to get them back to where they started at square one. Friday, October 11th is Shallock and Paulsboro. I'm sorry, Shallock and Gloucester's 6 p.m. start time. Should note that Shallock-Paulsboro game that was postponed, that was supposed to be scheduled from today, got moved to Monday at 4 o'clock. So that'll be interesting here as dropping back. Fakes the pass. He was falling away, pump faked, and tried it a second time. We have a very late flag coming in. We had a flag coming in after the whistle. Flags on both sidelines. They're going to sort this out. Ineligible man downfield for Rumson. Penalties declined. And, okay, that's what it was. I thought we were going to see 2 penalties there for a second. It's 3rd down. That's a good case scenario there for Manchester. I don't know why the penalty was declined, but it might be, David. I'm not sure. But either way, it's 3rd and 11. I mean, like we said, we didn't know that in high school, defensive pass interference isn't an automatic 1st down. We didn't know that until today because we didn't see a lot of defensive pass interference calls. So maybe the rule in high school is different. We haven't seen that yet, and maybe only 2 or 3 times this year have we seen an illegal man downfield call, period. So that'll be a 1st down for the Bulldogs. Now from the 41. O'Toole lets it fly. It is caught and a touchdown Bulldogs. They did it again. And that was the score that they needed to put this running clock into motion for the final 10 minutes of the night. And that will mean that for the 5th game in a row, Rumson scores 34 or more. That offense has been incredibly proactive here tonight and all season, and they have matched their season high of 41, which they reached over Point Pleasant Borough in a 41-28 win. That is good. And he is 5 for 5. And actually, I'm sorry, 6 for 6 now on point after attempts. Rumson-Fairhaven is rolling. And after this kickoff, the rolling clock will roll into town. It's 42-7. Rumson's band is playing away, and they have good reason to, as they are up 42-7 over Manchester Township. The student section has kind of been halved here in this fourth quarter, as this has not been the most favorable night for Manchester Township, taken in at the goal line. Rolling out to the right side, he finds some room. No whistles yet, finally gets taken down at the 40 for Goins on the return. And this running clock will be set into motion, 9:45 and counting. Manchester Township with a presumptive loss would fall to 4-2. Their only other loss coming to Southern on September the 6th. They won 26-21 over West Deptford, 30-26 over Pinelands, 15-9 over Jackson Liberty, and 24-12 over Barnegat. Only one of their 4 wins has been by more than one score. West Deptford 5 points, Pinelands 4 points. Oh, you know what it is? Because the lights keep turning off in the press box. There's a wave command. So something about what they're doing, because they're like putting their hands up in the air, and there's something that's getting set off by these sensors. So if you put your hand up in the air, it turns the lights off, and it looks like they're doing the wave over in the press box to our left, which it is quite funny. But because it's been like 4 or 5 times the lights have turned off in the press box. So somebody is setting off the sensor and turning off the lights, and they have to reset it. 2nd and 5 with the running clock in motion. But it has been all Rumson tonight since the second quarter. As we said, Manchester scored first. This will be a first down at the 50. But Rumson got the jitters out of their system. You know, Schulte and crew, they coach an incredibly well-disciplined and well-coached team. And the results are showing. In all but one of their games, they have allowed less than 10 points. And that one exception was the 41-28 slugfest versus Point Pleasant Borough. The others have been 6-0 and 7, and that same predicament seems to be holding true. Now, will that hold versus Red Bank Catholic? I don't know, but that's going to be their statement game. Because honestly, whoever wins that game is 99% likely to win the Shore Conference A Division, A North Division, I should say, as here comes a reverse to the left, taken by Manchester's number 6, Taheem Jackson. So seeing some new names on the field tonight. And they will spot this one at 2nd and 4 from the 43. This is the second game this year to institute a running clock. The other was Audubon-Pennsville, my alma mater, Audubon, on September 20th. That game ended in a 46-0 blowout. But sometimes this happens. Good teams play each other. I mean, I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. Manchester Township is a good team. But there's a reason why the Shore Conference has the divisions the way they are. Manchester Township is playing up in this game. A big hit coming in from the back by number 39, which was James Presti. But, you know, the Shore Conference aligns their divisions in the same way that the WJFL does. But here's the thing. You know, you kind of know where a team stands based off of whether they have an A, B, C, or D grade. And in the WJFL, they kind of masquerade that with the American Division, the Constitution Division, the United Division. Because looking at the division at face value, you can't tell the quality of a team, or you can't tell, you know, why the team is in the division. It's just, it's ranked, it is, because you've got your Winslow, Millville, Camden, you know, all of your big guns at the top, but they don't say that that division is the A division, or that the United Division would be, or the Valley Division would be the D division. they kind of are a little less on the nose. And I kind of like the way that the short conference does it, to be honest. You know, there's no hiding things. Manchester Township is in the C South Division, and most of that is performance-based. So is there really much to complain about? I don't think so. Because the WJFL does the exact same thing, except they are a little less blunt about it. Lund finds room to the left side. He'll rush this one towards the pylon and eventually gets hit out of bounds. Actually made some contact with the kicking net. As we are down to our final 5 minutes. But this game will be just about 2.5 hours, so I don't have much to complain about. I might not get home that late. But Manchester Township is a very good team. Tonight has just not been their best showing. As we said, RFH has RBC next week. That game will be streamed by NJ.com. Then they're at home for weeks 7 and 8. Donovan Catholic on the 18th and Colts Neck on the 25th. And this is Manchester Township's last home game of the season. Away at Lakewood on the 12th, Point Pleasant Beach on the 18th, and Monmouth on the 25th. And I honestly see Manchester winning all 3 of those games to close out the season. But this is the crossover week. This is the week where, you know, expectations are changed because you're not playing the teams in your own division. Manchester Township's playing up tonight, and Rumson-Fair is definitely proving why they're a 4-0 team and why they're still one of the last undefeated teams in Central Jersey and down the Jersey Shore. That is a first down for Manchester Township as we are now at 3 minutes and 40 seconds and counting. Tommy Farrell's crew would fall to 4-2. Rumson-Fair would improve to 5-0 with a huge conference game on the line and a huge division game on the line with Red Bank Catholic next week. Ball is fumbled, a bit slow to get up, and he will get tackled way behind the line of scrimmage. Second down. That's about as far back as you can get on a fumble recovery. As timeout is called by Manchester. They burn their first of the half and the first in general, as we are 3 minutes exactly left here in the fourth quarter. 42-7 Rumson. Clock resumes after the timeout by Manchester. They burned their first of the second half. That snap on 2nd and 28 is way back. How far are they going to get? They're still going to lose 10 yards. And it could have been a loss of 20 if they didn't bring it back as far as they did. Oh, dear. I try to be as nice as I can on these live streams, but Manchester Township has just lost the wheels and lost the way. That will bring it back to the 50-yard line. The first down marker is at the 10. It is 3rd and 40. And David, you remember last night, last night, Florence and Cinnaminson, we had a 3rd and 35, and Florence punted. This is 5 yards more than that.
They basically waved the white flag.
Yeah, Florence did. These guys are still staying on the field. With 2 minutes left, they run it out of the Wildcat on 3rd and 40. That won't get too far. It's a gain of 8, but obviously that only makes a dent, and it's going to be 4th and 32. They'll punt Nazir Battle back on the field again. As this crowd is mostly checked out and walked out. It's unfortunate. Manchester has such a passionate fan base. The amenities here are incredible. This is a great place to be. But unfortunately, tonight was just not the night for the Hawks. Some late shoving. And did you see that there between 14 and 39? That was 39 for RFH was James Presti, and then for 14, that was Aiden Phillip Frazee for Manchester. Our cameras didn't pick it up that well, but as they were returning the punt, they shoved each other, and it looked like things were going to go all crazy and send this thing into a frenzy. But instead, he just kind of patted him on the shoulder, and he said, good game. Like, these guys have respect for each other. Rumson-Fairhaven is a well-disciplined team. We saw maybe one or two personal fouls all night, and Rumson-Fairhaven can just run it out. I don't think they have to kneel. If they do, they'll do it at the last second. And with 12 seconds left, both teams will migrate towards the 50, and Rumson-Fairhaven will remain undefeated with a 42-7 authoritative, dominant statement win over Manchester Township. And that will do it tonight from the Hawks' Nest as they flock on out of here. That was a hoot, if I had to say so myself. Manchester Township, they had it. They had the early lead. The energy was on their side, but as soon as Rumson-Fairhaven caught wind of the energy, it was over. They got 14 points in the second quarter. They scored 21 in the third, added on enough to bury the hatchet and take care of this thing in the fourth quarter. No doubt about it, Rumson-Fairhaven was the better team tonight. However, they also did not play that clean of a game. Think about the turnovers. Owen O'Toole threw 2 picks and 2 fumbles. One on the goal line that allowed Manchester to get the ball back early in the second quarter. And that's when I thought that Rumson was going to hold a candle to Manchester tonight, and Manchester was going to hold a candle to Rumson. I thought that was going to happen because of the fact that that goal line fumble happened, and that allowed the energy to reset. But then once Rumson got into the end zone, they scored once before the half, and just the energy was not there. These guys were mingling all about in the concourse, the Manchester fans, and they are a passionate fan base. You heard it very vocally, that they weren't happy with some of the play calls. And, I'm not one to comment on play calls too much just because that's not my job, but, you could tell that Manchester is passionate and they want to win. If they go as far as to criticize the coach while they're sitting in the back row of the grandstands, that means they're passionate, right? That means that these guys want to win, and when they're not performing to the expectations that they want, then that's disappointing for them, and they want better than that. And look, Rumson-Fairhaven is one of, if not the top team in the Shore Conference right now. Manchester should not hold their heads low. This was not their level of competition. What they play in the next 3 weeks with Lakewood, Point Pleasant Beach, and Monmouth, I might go out and say, with Lakewood being where they are at 3-3, Point Pleasant Beach at 3-2, and Monmouth at 0-6, Manchester might win out. They might finish 7-2 and very well make a playoff berth, as they did last year. I think it's very possible. And of course, you have to win in order to get there, but it's not a matter of, at least in my opinion, it's not a matter of making sure that this team is consistent. I don't think Manchester or anybody should hold their heads low from this game. Aiden Lund did a great job, and the Rumson, what I will say about Manchester's defense is that for a while they held their own, and they held Owen O'Toole, accountable, and they made sure that things didn't fall off the rails right away. And of course, there was just one time where Rumson was so overpowering that they couldn't do anything about it, but Manchester held their own. For a team that is of a smaller school, that is of a smaller program, and is, in Shore Conference divisional terms of a smaller stature, considering they're in the C South Division, Rumson is in the A North. This was an unusual pairing, and the matchup ended up being more lopsided than we expected for two teams that did not have any prior experience, prior matchups at head-to-head prior to today. But the energy was there up until maybe the third or fourth quarter. Manchester student section was in it. The fans were into it. The sideline, was taking advantage of those big plays that were being made, and they were proud of that. You take the little wins when they happen, and this will be just another stepping stone for Manchester Township. And obviously a big statement win for Rumson. I don't know what it does in terms of PowerPoints and OSI, but I know it'll do something. And Manchester, if they take care of business in the next 3 weeks on the road, trust me, playing 3 weeks in a row on the road is not easy. And we'll see what they have in store next, but it'll be fun. Both of these teams have big games ahead. Rumson with Red Bank Catholic next Thursday. These guys are playing Lakewood on Saturday for Manchester, and I'm excited to see what both teams can do. And more importantly, thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. We had a peak concurrency of over 60 viewers for a good portion of that game. And you know what? This is not our usual stomping grounds. I am usually a lot further away from home. This is, or I should say, I'm a lot closer to home. This is an hour 15 away from where I live. So big thanks to Manchester's athletic director, Coach Tommy Farrell. The game didn't go the way that the home crowd wanted to, but we are happy to be here. And hopefully if Manchester makes the playoffs later this year, maybe we'll be back. Or Rumson as well. I know we had a quick conversation with Rumson's athletic director, Lanzalotti, as he shared our link to the game, and hopefully some Rumson folks tuned in. But I don't know. I'm happy to be here in the Shore Conference. This is my first time at a Shore Conference school, and I'm excited to see what happens. But on the bottom of your screen, it's pretty self-explanatory. 3 years at DWB. This company is basically my livelihood right now. I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I'm a freshman at Rowan College of South Jersey. I'm working towards getting my associates and then spending 2 years at Rowan University to get my bachelor's. My producer next to me, who's been here for both games, he's been with me since 10:30 in the morning. David Cohen, he's a freshman at Rowan as well. And, we're all looking to advance our careers together. So, as we branch out, I might cover more Shore Conference games in the future. I'm certainly open to the possibility if these guys are going to keep playing on Saturday night. But it's exciting. And as somebody who has kind of been in the cocoon of South Jersey for a long time and has only a couple of times branched out to North, Central, and the Shore, it's nice to be here. And thank you all for being such great guests and allowing us to be good guests tonight here in Manchester. So that'll be all for us tonight here in Manchester Township at the Hawks Nest. Final score 42-7. Player of the game, I don't know. Maybe Murray. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait until the coaches put in the stats on NJ.com. Of course, on Monday, make sure to vote in the Player of the Week poll to see who you want to win the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting gym bag, not the hoodie. Although you can buy the hoodie for $30. DWB gym bags are on the line. That's important stuff, man. From our entire crew, though, all jokes aside, our social media coordinators, Brandon DeKegerland and Keely Curran, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, and Caleb Lane, my producer who stuck with me, and my annoying rear end for both games tonight, from Pennsauken to Manchester Township, Seneca's own David Cohen. I'm Dan Wilkins. We will see you on Tuesday, for Delsey and Cumberland boys soccer. That is all for us tonight. Rumson-Fairhaven takes care of business, and thank you all for the great hospitality, and thank you for welcoming me very warmly into the Shore Conference. We hope to be back soon. Have a good one, and until we meet again, Rumson-Fairhaven takes care of business 42-7. Good night, folks.